Chris Broussard, co-host First Things First, joining us live in New York. Here we go. So I saw a story in the Boston Globe, and I said something the other day on Twitter, that hell site. I said Boston is up to something. Something's going on. They move multiple players, one being Marcus Smart. Obviously, they weren't perfectly satisfied with their core of Tatum, Brown, and Smart. There was something there about Smart would take the ball too many times in late-game situations. Tatum needed more clarity, whatever it is to get Porzingis. So when I hear seismic trade, well, who's on the market? What does that mean to you?
No, look, that's a great point. Who's on the market? I mean, we know it's not Joel Embiid. It's not Anthony Davis, Nikola Jokic, Steph Curry. Have no interest at this point in Ja Morant. Like, you could go down the line. I mean, what comes to mind is Damian Lillard. But what comes to mind is the talk is that they're not interested in making this type of trade.
Right.
However, they may be interested in trying to make that deal without giving up Jaylen Brown. Right? So the thought has been they could trade Jaylen Brown to Portland for Damian Lillard, but maybe they're thinking we're gonna go after Lillard without giving up Jaylen Brown. You would think that would be appealing to Damian Lillard. Even though we all know he wants to play in Miami, I think he's a professional. I think he's a baller. And just like Kevin Durant didn't want to play in Brooklyn, but went there and averaged 30 points last year before Kyrie bolted, so KD wanted out. Just like Jaylen Brown has at times been unhappy in Boston because his name is always in trade rumors, I think Damian Lillard would play and play well if he were sent to Boston. Now, again, I don't know that they could do it without Jaylen Brown. But if they could, that's the type of move that you look at and say that's what gets them over the hump. Outside of that, the names that are out there that you'd want to get, those guys aren't available.
All right. Victor Wembanyama tonight. Now, the Summer League is different. There have been guys we've never heard of drop 47. It's a shooters, hyper-athletic league. Wemby's already made the team. He doesn't need to impress anybody. I want to see it. Does he get bullied? I want to see defensively. I don't care about his points. That doesn't interest me. I've seen guys for years that drop 44 in the Summer League. Everybody wants their shots. A lot of these guys are trying to make teams. They're trying to blow people away with their athleticism and their scoring. What are you looking for from Wemby tonight?
Well, first I agree with you that I'm not going to jump to a conclusion one way or the other on what he does, but I definitely want to see great defense because I think he's going to block, assuming he plays, 30 minutes or here or there. I think he's going to block 4 shots at least. So I want to see that because not only is he tall, but he's mobile and he's got great defensive instincts. So he should be able to block a lot of shots. Offensively, I want to see him be able to get to his spots. Look, his jump shot, the form on his jumper is fine. He's an 82% free throw shooter, so his jumper is going to be fine. If he misses his J tonight, I'm not going to be worried about it. But I do want to see if off the dribble, he's able to get to the spots he wants to get to and get his shots, whether he makes them or not. I want to see him playing with confidence, okay? And part of that is attacking the rim. A guy that big, and I get he's slight of frame, but I want to see him attacking the rim with his skills and his size. That should be a big part of his game. So if I see those things, really a great demeanor where he's not, tentative, he's not, the moment isn't too big because all of the NBA world's going to be watching him, and he's playing with confidence, but he maybe happens to miss some shots. I'm going to be fine with that.
I wanted to get you back to First Things First after our show, but I got to ask you about the Knicks. I thought it was a great moment this week for the Knicks when they passed on Paul George. Not because I don't like Paul George. 5 years ago, they make the deal. 10 years ago, they do. They panicked on Melo, traded him in season, and gave up too much. Stoudemire had bad knees in Phoenix. Everybody knew it. They wanted a star. Paul George is a great two-way player, but I've been told Ballmer's not going to extend him, so the Knicks shouldn't sell the farm to get him. And I think they're 1-1. They're a good team. They got their quarterback. They got complementary pieces. 11 first-round picks, 7 years. Guys they can move like Josh Hart, R.J. Barrett, good players. And they've got a complimentary player, Julius Randle, a 3, not a 2. But both he and Jalen Brunson have very reasonable contracts. In fact, Jalen Brunson's contract shrinks next 2 years, doesn't go up. They're a smart move away. Do you think they're done with the Paul George stuff, who I think Ballmer would move off of? Or are they going to circle back on it? Because they're not going to stand pat. They got too many picks and too many movable players. What are the Knicks going to do?
Well, I think you're right in not going after Paul George being a smart move. I mean, and look, you mentioned Amari Stoudemire, who we knew had knee injuries when he was traded to New York. This has been their history, going to get big names after they're, in their prime. Tracy McGrady, Penny Hardaway, Steve Francis, all those guys played for the Knicks, but when they were well past their prime. And George is getting there. He's still a very good player, but he's missed an average of 35 games over his last 4 years, 35 games per season over his last 4 years. Why in the world would you extend him 5 more years? So this is very smart, and it shows that their leadership is doing the right things and not doing what they used to do just to win the back page. Who they can get, look, there's talk of Joel Embiid if he gets disgruntled in Philadelphia. I'm not so sure that'll happen. I think Embiid is loyal to the Sixers. I'm not saying it couldn't happen down the road, but I wouldn't put all my eggs in that basket if I'm the Knicks. Look, they've talked about Zion in their offices for a long time trying to get him there. So maybe something happens down the line with him. But I agree with you. They're going to be aggressive. They know they've got not only a great point guard in Jalen Brunson, but a leader. And that's what they need, a clutch player.
Yeah.
And so, yes, they're going to go out there and see what they can do. I'm not sure what it could be, but they're going to be trying to make big moves, and they do have the draft capital to do it.
Odd Couple on radio. First things first, after us. It's a Friday. We're going to let him go. Brew, appreciate you stopping by, my man. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.